This video is sponsored by Squarespace. From websites and online stores to marketing tools and analytics, build your online presence with Squarespace.
Hey everyone, Ace of Clay here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another sculpting video. But if you're new here, I'm a sculptor and every week I make a new sculpture, so be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos. Today I'm working on a very special project with my friends over at Sculpey to make a sculpture for the front of their 8-pound box of beige Super Sculpey Original. My work is on a few other Sculpey packages, but this one is super special because this is the clay that I've been using since I was a kid. I have been using Super Sculpey Original forever, since I was 12 years old, and to have my sculpture on the 8-pound box is seriously a dream come true, and I could not have done that without this channel and of course all of you. So thank you so much for being here and liking my content and watching my videos, and of course thank you so much to Sculpey for this awesome opportunity. The sculpture that I'm going to be making today is a DND style female warrior, complete with cape and super dynamic pose as she wields a sword. And then with all of that, this is a super fun sculpture to work on. I use a bunch of different techniques that I have never used before on my channel, so I really hope you enjoy it. And now without further ado, check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Ace of Clay, and let's get started. All right, let's get started. Now for this project, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and I am going to start by creating the armature out of my wire. Let's just try to figure it out as we go. I'm going to do both sides separately, and then I'm going to add a neck and then connect all of it in the middle. You'll see what I mean in a second. So here, this will be like her leg and her shoulder and her arm. And then I'm going to leave some extra slack for the sword. A little bit more than I need probably, but better safe than sorry. Now another piece of wire in the middle, just for her neck. All right, now because she's not going to have very much to bulk out, I don't need to use any ultralight. I'm just going to do multiple stage bakes of Super Sculpey Original. This is going on the packaging for the Super Sculpey Original beige. So we're just going to use this, and then I'm going to use some, of course, bacon bond to attach the clay and all that. So let's just start building up her basic muscle structure and then go from there. I really just want to establish her pose and basic understructure. I'm not trying to make anything look perfect right now, but the pose, I am. All right, so we've got this sort of like noodle person, torso, thigh figure figured out. So I'm gonna go ahead, I think, and bake her, and then we'll come back and we'll continue building her up. We'll do her arms, we'll do her calves, shins, all that, and go from there. So far, so good. All right, and she's baked and completely cooled down. Now I've decided to use just a smaller plaque with one hole in it like this, and then her other foot can go off the end of it. That other one was just way too big. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim the legs down and all this excess wire, and then we'll start building up the rest of her torso, do her arms and everything else. So let's get started. And then she is going to have a cape, so I'm trying to figure out when the best time to add the armature for it is going to be. This is just a little wire mesh I got from Michael's. Nothing crazy, but it's super thin and really flexible. Big sheet of it, so eventually I have to figure out when to put this on. All right, now that her body is at a good point, I'm gonna start adding some details. We're gonna start with her pants. I'm just gonna add some folds and wrinkles. They're gonna be pretty basic fitting pants, nothing too crazy. So a couple snakes of clay should do the trick. Let's get started. All right, now that looks pretty good, I'm gonna actually start working on her cape. I'm not really entirely sure how I'm going to do it. I just know that I'm gonna be using this wire mesh for it. I guess what I'm gonna do is just sort of cut it down and then shape it out and then add my clay to it and then just really just mess with it until it looks how I want it to. I want it to be sort of flowing behind her quite a bit just because Sculpey said that they wanted her to take up more real estate on the packaging horizontally, so I'm going to, you know, stretch out the cape a little bit more. I think I want it to sort of wrap around the front a little bit and kind of help support her. And yeah, so we'll see how this goes. I'm just going to cut out my cape shape and then shape it out on her body and then take it off and add the clay to it and then put it back on the body. So let's give this a shot. This is the first time I've ever used wire mesh like this for armature. Just want to get some of these folds out. I don't know why they packaged it like this. They should have packaged it in a roll. Alright, now that the cape looks pretty good, I'm just going to set it aside and we're going to finish the details on her. I know I gouged some of her with that mesh back here, but we'll fix that in a sec. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead with her details, finish her clothes, and then add the cape, bake her, come back to the hands, feet, hair, and sword, and we'll be good to go. So let's get started. This is the fun part. Alright, now before we get to the fun part, let's take a second to talk about our sponsor. This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Whether you're just getting started or you're an established brand, the Squarespace commerce platform supports the way you do business. Whether you're looking to sell products directly or even bill for your services, they've got you covered. Personally, I love Squarespace for their portfolios and galleries. The portfolios are so professional and so beautifully designed, I know they're going to show my work at its best light. And I really love the customizable galleries that I can even password protect for clients. One of my favorite Squarespace features is my ability to sync all of my social media content to my homepage, or really any page of my website for that matter. So if all of this sounds good to you, head on over to squarespace.com, start a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your website, go to squarespace.com/aceofclay to save 10% on your first website or domain. Thanks again, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video. Now let's finish up the DND Warrior. Alright, so I just roughed out the hands and the head really quick just to, get an idea for how this is all going to work together, and that seems pretty good. We're obviously going to trim this, but this is going to be the sword. This other hand is going to come up here, and then we're going to fake the end of the sword with another piece of clay later on. So I'm really happy with how this looks. I think her pose is great. I'm going to go ahead and finish her off, all the detailed parts here, and then we're going to pre-bake it with the cape on, get that thing attached and out of the way, and then we'll come back and we'll do her feet and hands after she's baked, and then of course her head and her hair. So, all right, let's keep going. We're almost there. Alright, now before I finally attach the cape, I want to add a little bit of a fabric texture. I think I'm just going to do the typical technique that I use and just roll this textured part of my sculpting tool on the surface of my clay, just here and there, just give it a little more, detail and interest. Alright, that looks pretty good. I'm just going to put some Bacon Bond on here and attach it like that. It's got a pretty secure connection because this is going right around her neck armature, so I'm not worried about it moving around or falling or anything. It is pretty heavy, but it is going to be supporting itself, and it's got all that wire mesh inside that I know nothing's gonna happen to it. So we're good to go. Just gonna brush on this Bacon Bond here and then stick it on. Alright, now before I bake her, I just want to brush the surface with some clay softener, get it really nice and smooth. Alright, she looks good. Let's go ahead, pop her in the oven, and we'll come right back and keep going. And now that she's baked and completely cooled down, everything baked as planned. The cape is really on there. We're going to start by working on her boots, finishing those off, and then we'll do her hands, head, and hair. So let's get started. I'm actually gonna do the feet last because I'm gonna keep moving it around and I feel like I'm gonna keep smashing this one. So we're gonna do that last. Let's do the hands and the sword first. All right, the hands are at a good point. Let's go ahead and make her head and then go from there. Alright, the head looks pretty good. She's got a face now. Let's go ahead and attach it to the body with a little bit of a neck, and then we're going to do the feet and then pre-bake her so we can do her hair. Alright, she's ready to bake. I'll be right back. Alright, now that she's baked again, I'm going to go ahead and add her hair, and then we're going to bake her one last time, then come back, sand the sword, and paint. Alright, there we go. Her hair is on. Let's go ahead and bake her one last time. Come back, sand that sword to a perfect point, and then paint her and call it a day. Be right back. Alright, now that she's baked and cooled down, I'm going to go ahead and start sanding the sword a little bit. Get it nice and smooth and pointy without breaking it, hopefully, and then we'll get into paint. Alright, that looks pretty good, better than before. Let's go ahead and start painting. For this project, I will be using Folk Art brand matte acrylics. Always make sure you get matte, not satin or glossy. Alright, now I'm envisioning some nice, like, grays, browns, and, like, golds for her. So I think let's kind of take that idea and run with it. I think I'm going to start with her body, or actually we're going to do her face first. And then, because that's the hardest part, and then we'll work our way outward. So I'll do her body, and then we'll do her cape last. So let's get started. And she's done! My DND style warrior is complete. Let me know what you think of her in the comments. I am so proud of this project, not only because it is going on the front of Super Sculpey boxes, but because I was able to share the entire process with all of you. I tried some brand new techniques that I've never done before, and I am so excited, and I cannot wait to see what you guys think. So let me know in the comments, and let me know, of course, what you want to see me make next. And as always, thank you so much for watching and being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and then check me out on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Ace of Clay. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.